I'm a business coach, and I may be telling you something today you don't want to hear. Hey, I'm Michelle. I'm a human design astrology intuitive business coach. And I want to tell you a quick story about something that I see a lot of times before people are ready to leap into their own creative business, their entrepreneurship, or their small business, doesn't matter what size it is. And that is, if you're leaving your current job because of a situation, a person that is really irritating you in your current job, I'm going to ask you to pause and learn something from this today so that you don't take this type of characteristic into your own business. I had this whole situation for me way back in 2008 when I was still a sales rep for a fabric company. I had a boss. He would ride with me all the time because he lived in the state next to me and he didn't like to travel. He didn't like to go on the planes all the time. And it got to the point where he was riding with me all the time. And if you're a sales rep, you understand this in the corporate world. Your car is your office, and to have somebody sitting there 8 to 10 hours in a day is annoying as heck. And I was getting a little sick of it. I was getting annoyed. I was getting pissed off. And it was reflecting in my clients thinking I was going to lose my job because my boss was always with me. Nothing could be farther from the truth, but that was the story I was telling in my head. And I had some learning to do from him. And so what I decided to do at that time, I was really going through a whole spiritual development. I was really tuning into intuition and reading on books about spirituality and understanding the gifts that people always bring to me. And so I thought to myself, how is my boss bringing me a gift? Because it doesn't feel like a gift. I feel like I could just kick him out of my car and feel happy about it. And the one thing and I'm only going to share one part of it because the story is very long, but the one thing that I did learn from having him ride with me is that I had to learn what it is that he wanted when he got into my car. I knew he was doing it because it kept him busy. I knew he was trying to figure me out because I was his only female staff person. Everybody else in the company at that time were all male. And so my style of business was a lot different than what he was used to. And I think the slightest dip in my sales would cause him to come ride with me. But then it become more frequent, so I had to learn why. And what I learned by listening and observing, I have a one line in my profile. I have a lot of ones in my profile. So maybe going inwards and watching and observing is pretty easy for me. And I help other people figure that out for themselves with other people. But the one thing he taught me was that he was a better sales rep than he was a manager, and he knew that. And he had said everything he needed to say to everybody else, but he couldn't quite figure me out. So it was easy for him to think that he was being of service, when in actuality he should have stayed in sales. He was an amazing salesperson. Happens a lot of times in corporate America. You're good at something and you get moved up the line, but unfortunately you don't like the job because what you liked prior to is now gone, right? He loved to socialize with people. So I had to learn that about him. I had to learn that he was doing that for his own benefit, for his own ego. And I had to learn how to speak his terminology. I had to mirror back to him what he needed to hear so he could feel safe and secure and report back to the bigwigs in the company that Michelle was doing her job. And so that's what I had to learn from that. And had I not done that, what would have happened is that type of person would have shown up in my business. Even in my small business, they would show up in my bookkeeper or my VA or in my clientele. And that is a big myth that we don't know about, that if you're leaving because of a certain person, even in relationships, it's the same thing. If you don't understand what one of the gifts are, because there was many with him, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't have been able to read a room as well as I did. I wouldn't be able to assess. And a lot of this was intuition, by the way. I had a sense about him after sitting in the car with him for more and more and more. So tell me, if you're thinking about going into your own small business, what is the big reason why? It shouldn't be because you need to leave something. It should be because you have a passion for something. Let me know your stories on that.